Governor Shen Lin watched through the reinforced windows of Luna Base as another Carrack's battlecruiser entered Earth's orbit. Its crystalline hull sparkled like a malevolent star against the black canvas of space, a constant reminder of humanity's subjugation. 23 years had passed since the Carrack's empire had enlightened Earth with their presence, and with each passing year, their grip had only tightened. The door to her office slid open with a soft hiss. "The quarterly tribute calculations are ready for your review, Governor," announced her aide, Thomas Chen, his voice carefully neutral. To any Carrack surveillance, it would seem like another mundane administrative meeting. "Display them," Shen commanded, activating the holographic interface embedded in her desk. Numbers and graphs materialized in the air between them: mining quotas, resource allocations, productivity metrics. But hidden within the endless columns of data was something far more valuable. Project Umbra's latest progress report. The Carrack's empire had made one critical mistake in their domination of Earth. They believed their technology was so advanced that humans couldn't possibly understand it, let alone improve upon it. They saw humans as clever pets at best, capable of operating their machines, but never truly comprehending them. This arrogance had become humanity's greatest weapon. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in chambers shielded by experimental quantum fields, Earth's finest minds had spent 2 decades reverse engineering every scrap of alien technology they could acquire. The Carrack's crystalline computing cores, their gravity manipulation systems, their faster-than-light drives, all had been dissected, analyzed, and rebuilt with human ingenuity. But Project Umbra's crown jewel wasn't just a copy of Carrack's technology. It was something entirely new, something the Empire had never achieved. True stealth capability in space. Section 7's power consumption has exceeded projections by 3.8%, Thomas noted, his finger tracing a particular line of data. To anyone else, it would seem like a minor industrial concern. To Shen, it meant the prototype's quantum field generators had finally achieved stable operation. "Increase their resource allocation by 5%, she replied, careful to maintain her frustrated administrator's demeanor. "We can't afford any production delays." Through the window, the Carrack's battlecruiser had taken up its patrol position, its crystal-faceted hull reflecting Earth's blues and greens. Soon, they would learn that beauty could be deadly. The quantum stealth system didn't just bend light around a ship, it phased it partially out of normal spacetime, making it virtually undetectable by any known means. A gentle chime indicated an incoming priority transmission. The holographic display shifted, showing the face of Admiral Sarah Chen, Thomas's sister and the military head of Project Umbra. Her expression was carefully composed, but Shen could see the excitement in her eyes. "Governor, I'm pleased to report that all facility inspections have been completed according to Imperial standards," Sarah reported formally. The hidden meaning was clear. The prototype vessel was ready. Shen allowed herself a small smile. "Excellent, Admiral. Perhaps you'd join me for tea later to discuss the details." Tea meetings were their code for secure briefings in the quantum-shielded chambers. "I would be honored, Governor." As the transmission ended, Shen turned back to the window. The Carrack's battlecruiser loomed above Earth like a sword of Damocles, its crew completely unaware that their absolute dominion over human space was about to end. Humanity had spent 23 years playing the role of the obedient servant, all while forging the key to their own liberation. In the depths of Luna Base, the prototype stealth ship waited in its berth. Unlike the crystalline aesthetics of Carrack's vessels, humanity's first true warship in a generation was a study in subtle functionality. Its hull was composed of layered metamaterials that could actively adapt to any scanning method. Its weapons were hidden beneath seamless panels, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Even its name reflected its purpose. UES Ghost, the first of the Umbra-class vessels. Thomas cleared his throat softly. "Will there be anything else, Governor?" Shen touched a control, dismissing the holographic display. "No, that will be all. Please ensure my schedule is clear for tea with the Admiral." As Thomas left, Shen allowed her gaze to drift from the Carrick's battlecruiser to the Earth beyond. For 23 years, humanity had endured. They had smiled and bowed, offered tribute and accepted restrictions, all while preparing for this moment. The Carrick's empire believed they had tamed humanity. Soon they would learn that you cannot cage the human spirit. You can only make it more determined to break free. The time for silence was ending. Soon, the galaxy would hear humanity's voice again, and it would echo through the stars like thunder. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck overlooking the UESS Ghost's berth, 300 meters beneath Luna's surface. The vessel before her represented humanity's greatest achievement since the Carrick's arrival, and their greatest gamble. Unlike the graceful, crystalline shapes of Carrick's ships, the Ghost was a dark arrow of composite metamaterials, its hull designed to scatter any form of detection. "Final systems check is complete," reported Captain Maya Rodriguez, the Ghost's commanding officer. She had been handpicked for this mission, her background in theoretical physics proving invaluable in understanding the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. "All quantum field generators are operating within parameters." Sarah nodded, her eyes tracing the vessel's sleek lines. "And the crew?" "Ready. Every one of them understands what's at stake." Maya's voice carried the weight of their responsibility. The Ghost's crew of 200 represented the finest minds Earth had to offer, each chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to keep the project secret. The quantum communicator at Sarah's hip vibrated. A message from Governor Shen. "The Carrick's delegation has arrived for their annual inspection. We have approximately 6 hours. 6 hours to launch humanity's first stealth warship without alerting the most technologically advanced empire in known space." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. They had trained for this moment for years. "Begin launch preparations," she ordered. "Activate the quantum shroud." Around the Ghost, arrays of specialized equipment hummed to life. The quantum shroud was humanity's greatest breakthrough. Technology that didn't just hide objects, but partially phased them out of normal space-time. The theory had emerged from studying Carrick's FTL drives, but the application was entirely human. Deep in the ship's engineering section, Dr. James Patel monitored the quantum field metrics. The Indian physicist had spent 15 years developing the shroud technology, working in secret while maintaining his cover as a minor maintenance technician in the Carrick's Oversight Bureau. "Field stability at 99.8%, he reported through the secure comm channel. "Ready for phase transition on your mark." Above them, in Luna Base's public levels, Governor Shen was leading the Carrick's inspection team through carefully prepared areas. The aliens' crystalline environment suits caught the light, their faceted helmets containing the methane-rich atmosphere they required. "As you can see, Overseer Catal, production efficiency has increased by 12% since your last inspection," Chen was saying, her voice carrying the perfect note of eager subservience. The Carrick's Overseer's translated voice buzzed through the air. "Acceptable, though we expected better from such a resource-rich world." In the launch bay, Sarah watched the countdown timer. The Ghost's launch window would align with a scheduled waste disposal release, the only time when significant mass movement wouldn't immediately trigger Carrick's sensors. "All hands, final positions," Maya's voice echoed through the ship. Crew members moved with practiced precision, each motion choreographed to maintain the delicate quantum field balance. The ship's bridge was unlike anything in either human or Carrick's design. Instead of traditional stations, crew members interfaced directly with the quantum field through neural links, becoming living extensions of the ship's systems. It was dangerous technology, pushing the boundaries of human consciousness, but it gave them capabilities the Carrick's couldn't match. 3 minutes to launch window," announced Lieutenant Emma Zhao, her hands dancing over the navigation controls. The young officer had modified Carrick's stellar cartography systems to work with human neural interfaces, creating an entirely new way of plotting courses through space. Sarah made her way to the bridge's command center, where Maya was conducting final checks. "Remember," she said softly, "this is just phase 1. Get the Ghost to the rally point. Do not engage the Carracks unless absolutely necessary. Maya nodded grimly. Understood, Admiral. We'll make history today, one way or another. The countdown reached 1 minute. Throughout Luna Base, carefully orchestrated maintenance activities created sensor shadows, minor power fluctuations, and data noise, all designed to mask the enormous energy signature of the Ghost's quantum drive spooling up. In her office, Governor Shen was wrapping up the inspection, presenting the Carracks delegation with the expected tributes and assurances of continued loyalty. Through it all, her quantum communicator silently counted down the seconds. Launch window in 10 seconds, Emma announced. The bridge crew's neural interfaces hummed with shared tension and determination. 5 seconds. Sarah touched the ship's hull one last time. Good hunting, she whispered. Mark. The quantum shroud engaged fully, and for a moment, the Ghost existed in 2 states simultaneously, both here in the launch bay and already accelerating through Luna's crust. It was an impossible moment, a violation of physics that only worked because humans had learned to think beyond conventional limitations. Then the ship was gone, leaving behind nothing but a slight distortion in the air and humanity's hopes for freedom riding with its crew. Above, the Carrack ships continued their patrol, their sensors sweeping space with arrogant certainty. They didn't detect the dark arrow that slipped past their formation, carrying with it the seeds of their empire's greatest challenge. Project Shadowmaker had begun. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood motionless on the Ghost's bridge, surrounded by the ethereal glow of quantum field projections. They had been traveling for 3 weeks, their ship moving like a shadow through Carrack space, gathering intelligence and preparing for humanity's first strike. Their target was Station K-116, officially designated as a cultural exchange and oversight facility. In reality, it was one of the Empire's primary data processing centers, coordinating the subjugation of a dozen species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Latest sensor sweep complete, Lieutenant Emma Zhao reported, her neural interface translating complex data streams into tactical displays. Confirming 19 Carracks vessels in the sector. None have deviated from standard patrol routes. Maya nodded, feeling the ship's systems through her own neural link. The Ghost had performed flawlessly, its quantum shroud rendering them invisible to even the most sophisticated Carracks detection systems. But today, they would do more than hide. Dr. Patel. Status of the override package. In engineering, James Patel monitored the specialized virus they had developed. It was based on reversed engineered Carracks code, but incorporated something the aliens had never considered: human creativity and lateral thinking. Package is primed, he responded. But remember, Captain, we'll only have a few minutes between insertion and detection. Their systems are elegant. They'll adapt quickly. Maya allowed herself a small smile. A few minutes is all we need. She opened a channel to all hands. This is the captain. Battle stations. Throughout the ship, crew members moved with quiet efficiency. They had trained for this moment countless times, but now it was real. Humanity's first act of defiance against their so-called benefactors. The Ghost glided closer to Station K-116, its quantum field harmonizing with the station's own energy emissions to maintain perfect stealth. Through the bridge viewports, Maya could see the station's crystalline structure rotating slowly, its faceted surfaces reflecting starlight like a massive diamond. Multiple transmission nodes identified, Emma reported, ready for synchronized breach. Maya took a deep breath. Once they began, there would be no turning back. She thought of Earth, of the billions living under Carrack's control, of the generations born into servitude. It was time. Execute. The Ghost's quantum field shifted, creating microscopic tunnels through space-time. Through these impossibly small bridges, their override package began flooding into the station's systems. At the same time, targeted electromagnetic pulses, designed to mimic natural solar fluctuations, struck key communication arrays. For 30 seconds, nothing seemed to happen. Then alarms began blaring across the station. "Package is deploying," Patil announced, his voice tense with concentration. "Their security protocols are—" "Wait, something's wrong. They're adapting faster than predicted." Maya's neural interface flared with warning signals. "Time to detection. 2 minutes, maybe less. Captain, they're using quantum encryption patterns we've never seen before." But even as the Carrick systems fought back, the human virus was spreading, using their own adaptive algorithms against them. Throughout the station, critical systems began to fail. Emergency bulkheads sealed randomly. Life support systems recalibrated for human-compatible atmospheres instead of Carrick's methane requirements. Multiple ships breaking patrol patterns, Emma warned. "They've detected something." Maya's mind raced through their options, feeling the ship's systems respond to her thoughts. They had achieved their primary objective. The station's data was being corrupted beyond recovery, and the override package was replicating itself through subspace channels to other Carrick's facilities. "Prepare for Phase 2, she ordered. The Ghost's weapon systems, dormant until now, hummed to life. Unlike Carrick's energy weapons, these were purely human innovations. Electromagnetic railguns firing projectiles at relativistic speeds, their trajectories calculated through quantum probability matrices. "Target their primary power core," Maya commanded. "Time on target with their shield fluctuation." The ship shuddered as the railguns fired. To any observers, it would have seemed like the station's core had spontaneously exploded, the quantum-shrouded projectiles invisible until the moment of impact. Station K-116's crystalline structure began to fracture, its elegant form breaking apart as secondary explosions cascaded through its levels. The approaching Carrick ships suddenly found themselves dodging debris rather than hunting an intruder. "Package deployment at 80%, Patil reported. "The remaining data corruption will continue automatically." Maya nodded grimly. "Quantum jump coordinates locked." "Ready, Captain. Take us out." The Ghost's quantum drive engaged, phasing them partially out of normal space before accelerating to faster-than-light speeds. Behind them, Station K-116 continued its spectacular destruction, broadcasting its message across Carrick space. Humanity was no longer content to remain in chains. As they jumped to safety, Maya received a priority transmission from Earth. Governor Shen's face appeared in her neural display, her expression both proud and concerned. "Phase 1 is complete," Maya reported. "The Carrick's data network is compromised. Their control is beginning to fracture." Shen nodded. "Excellent work, Captain. But be prepared. This is only the beginning. The Empire won't take this humiliation lightly." Maya looked at her crew, saw the determination in their faces. They had struck the first blow, proven that humanity could fight back. Whatever came next, they had changed the galaxy forever. "Let them come," she said softly. "We're ready." High Overseer K'tul stood before the Imperial Council, his crystalline armor dulled with stress fractures, a visible sign of distress in Carrick's physiology. The destruction of Station K-116 had sent shockwaves through the Empire, but the true devastation lay in the data breach. Centuries of careful control were unraveling. "The humans," he buzzed, his translator struggling to convey his agitation. "They have weapons we've never seen. Technology that shouldn't be possible for their level of development. Our networks across 3 sectors are compromised." The council chamber, a vast geodesic sphere of living crystal, resonated with disturbed harmonics. The highest authorities of the Carrick's empire were facing something unprecedented: successful resistance from a primitive species. In the shadows of the chamber, representatives from other subjugated races watched with carefully concealed interest. The Neuraxians, with their multifaceted eyes, the gaseous rel contained in their environment spheres, the silicon-based Dizexel, all witnessing the first cracks in Carrick's dominion. Meanwhile, aboard the Ghost, Captain Maya Rodriguez received transmissions from across human space. The virus they'd unleashed hadn't just corrupted Carrick's data. It had exposed the truth to every enslaved species in the Empire. Records of manipulation, evidence of deliberate technological suppression, proof that the Carricks had been stalling the development of countless civilizations. "We're receiving signals from the Neuraxian resistance," Lieutenant Emma Zhao reported, her neural interface processing hundreds of encrypted channels. "They're offering support. The Vrel and Zexutl are also making contact." Maya shared this information with Governor Shen through their quantum link. On Earth, Shen was already coordinating with other human leaders, preparing for the Empire's inevitable retaliation. "The Carricks are mobilizing their primary fleet," Thomas Chen reported, his network of informants providing crucial intelligence. 700 capital ships, gathering at Nexus Point Alpha. But the Empire's response came too late. The Ghost had already struck again, its quantum shroud allowing it to penetrate the heart of Carrick space. This time, they targeted the Empire's shipyards, using their knowledge of Carrick's technology to turn the automated construction systems against themselves. Dr. Patel's virus had evolved, learning and adapting just as its creators had. Throughout Imperial space, manufacturing facilities began producing corrupted components, navigation systems developed mysterious faults, and communication networks became unreliable. The High Overseer received the reports with increasing horror. The humans hadn't just developed new technology. They had fundamentally understood and improved upon Carrick's systems. Worse, they had done it while maintaining a perfect facade of submission. "Your Eminences," he addressed the Council, "we must launch an immediate punitive strike against Earth. Show them the consequence of defiance." But when the Imperial fleet arrived in Earth's solar system, they found something unexpected. The quantum shroud technology had been shared with every resistance movement across the Empire. Ships of various species, previously hidden, cloaked in perfect synchronization. Maya stood on the Ghost's bridge, watching as vessels of dozens of designs revealed themselves. The Neuraxians' organic ships, grown from living tissue. The Vrel's plasma-contained vessels, barely visible to normal sensors. The crystalline arrows of other human stealth ships, built in secret over the past months. "All Allied ships reporting ready," Emma announced, her voice tight with anticipation. "The Carrick's fleet is in optimal position." Maya opened a channel to all vessels. "This is Captain Rodriguez. The Empire believed they could keep us divided, keep us weak. They thought their technology made them superior. Today, we show them that innovation comes not from control, but from freedom." The battle that followed would be studied for generations. The Carrick's fleet, despite its size, found itself facing enemies they couldn't effectively target. Ships appeared and disappeared at will, striking from impossible angles. Human railguns proved devastating against crystalline hulls. Neuraxian organic vessels absorbed and redirected energy weapons. Vrel ships phased through solid matter to deliver their attacks. But the true victory wasn't in the destruction of Carrick's ships. It was in the message being broadcast across their own network, reaching every corner of their empire. The age of subjugation was over. In the council chamber, the High Overseer watched his carefully maintained order collapse. The other races were rising up, using the techniques and technology shared by humanity. The Empire's greatest strength, its interconnected, hierarchical control, had become its greatest vulnerability. Governor Shen, watching the battle through quantum feeds, allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Humanity had done more than free itself. It had become a catalyst for revolution. The Carricks had never understood that oppression breeds innovation, that necessity drives ingenuity. As the Imperial fleet retreated in disarray, Maya received messages from countless resistance leaders. They weren't just asking for military support. They wanted to learn, to share knowledge, to build something new from the ashes of empire. The ghost of humanity's chains was fading, replaced by the promise of a very different future. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, Governor Shen Lin stood in the newly constructed Galactic Conclave on Luna. The chamber was a marvel of cooperative engineering, incorporating the architectural styles and environmental needs of a dozen species. Where the Carricks had enforced uniformity, this new alliance celebrated diversity. Through the chamber's transparent dome, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the black of space. No Carrick ships shadowed its orbit now. Instead, vessels of various species came and went freely, each contributing to the unprecedented exchange of knowledge and culture. The last Carrick's holdout in the Carina sector has surrendered, Admiral Sarah Chen reported, her hologram flickering beside Shen. Their remaining fleet commanders are requesting asylum. Shen nodded, watching as representatives from former subject worlds filed into the chamber. The Neuraxians, their iridescent bodies flowing like liquid mercury. The Vrel, their gaseous forms swirling in containment spheres. The crystalline Zextable, who had turned their silicon-based technology against their former masters. On the Ghost, now docked at Luna's primary spaceport, Captain Maya Rodriguez prepared for her next mission. The ship had become a symbol of liberation, its quantum shroud technology now being adapted to protect vulnerable worlds as they rebuilt. The Neuraxian Science Council has completed their analysis of the quantum field generators, Dr. Paddle reported, his eyes bright with excitement. Their biological computing systems have identified improvements we never considered, combined with Vrel plasma containment theories. Maya smiled. This was what victory truly looked like, not just the defeat of an empire, but the flourishing of shared knowledge. Every species brought unique perspectives, new ways of thinking that enhanced their collective understanding. In the conclave chamber, Shen took her place at the circular table. Unlike the hierarchical arrangement of the Carrick's Council, here all representatives sat as equals. The session began with a Zextable harmonics ceremony, their crystalline bodies resonating with tones that translated across all languages as a call for unity. 1 year ago, Shen began, her words simultaneously translated for all species present. We gathered in secret, planning rebellion. Today we meet openly as architects of a new future. The Carrick's empire believed that control meant progress. They were wrong. True advancement comes from collaboration, from the free exchange of ideas. She gestured to the holographic display at the center of the chamber, showing the progress of the past year. Worlds once stripped for resources were being restored with Neuraxian biological engineering. Vrel atmospheric processors were transforming toxic atmospheres into habitable environments. Human quantum technology was revolutionizing transportation and communication. But our greatest challenge lies ahead, Chen continued, not in defeating the remnants of empire, but in building something better. Each of our species has known oppression. We must ensure that power never again concentrates in the hands of few. The Ghost's quantum communications array picked up the broadcast, sharing it across former imperial space. Throughout the galaxy, billions of beings watched and listened, their hopes riding on this unprecedented alliance. Lieutenant Emma Zhao, monitoring the quantum networks, detected something remarkable. Captain, I'm picking up signals from beyond the former empire's borders. Other civilizations are reaching out, seeking contact. The galaxy was changing. The fall of the Carrick's empire had opened new possibilities, new connections. Humanity's revolution had triggered not just the end of one regime, but the beginning of a genuine interstellar community. In the conclave chamber, representatives from each species presented their proposals for the future. The Neuraxians offered their expertise in organic technology, seeking to heal worlds damaged by imperial mining. The Vrel shared their understanding of energy states, promising advances in clean power generation. The Zexel proposed new forms of faster-than-light travel, building on human quantum theories. Maya stood on the Ghost's observation deck, watching ships of all designs moving through Luna's space lanes. Some carried diplomatic missions, others scientific expeditions. All represented the freedom to explore, to learn, to grow without constraint. Ready for departure, Captain, Emma announced. Their next mission would take them to the galaxy's edge, not to fight but to extend a hand of friendship to newly contacted civilizations. In the conclave chamber, Shen concluded the session by activating a memorial, a holographic display of all those who had sacrificed in the fight for freedom. But it was more than a monument to the past. It was a promise to the future. The Carricks had believed they could contain the human spirit. Instead, they had forced humanity to evolve, to innovate, to reach beyond their limitations. And in breaking free, humans had helped forge something unprecedented, a galaxy of equals, bound not by force but by shared aspirations. As the ghost prepared to jump to quantum speed, Maya thought of how far they had come. From hiding in the shadows to illuminating a new dawn. The stars ahead weren't just points of light now, they were beacons of possibility, each promising new discoveries, new friendships, new challenges to overcome together. The age of empire was over. The age of exploration had begun.